So we have said that we are looking at oral communication. We begin by writing that oral communication is the passing of information. Is the passing of information from one person or group. From one person or group to another, by use of words of the mouth. By use of words of mouth. Words of mouth. First of all. It can be formal or informal. It can be formal or informal. The elements of an oral communication are the elements of formal communication, of oral communication. The elements of oral communication are: number one, we have sender. Number two, we have receiver. Number three, we have channel. Number four, we have feedback. Number five, we have message. Number six, we have environment. Number seven, we have context. In number eight, we have what we call interference. So that is what we call oral communication. It is the passing of information by use of words of mouth. It is what we call verbal communication. When you're using words, like now what I'm doing, it is oral. I'm using words of my mouth. Now this oral communication, it has elements, and these are elements that we know of, we already have discussed. We know who is the sender, we know who is the receiver, we know what is the channel, we know about the feedback, we know about the message, we know about the environment, we know about the context. Context is more like environment. It has to do with where you are when you are making a communication. And then we have the interference. That is, do we have noise, or who is, or what distractions are in existence. Okay. Down there we write that the following are some characteristics of oral communication. The following are some of characteristics. Some of characteristics of oral communication. Okay, so we were saying the following are some characteristics of oral communication. One is it is a day-to-day, so we are writing it. One, it is a day-to-day language. The language, day-to-day language. Number two, both the sender and the receiver, must be present when the communication takes place. Both the sender and the receiver must be present when the communication takes place. Number three, it is easy to understand. It is easy to understand. It is easy to understand since it provides an opportunity to explain or clarify. An opportunity to explain or clarify. Another one is that it is very fast. It is very fast since the reaction is immediate. Since the reaction is immediate. It's very fast since the reaction is immediate. Another one, it is usually pre-planned. It is usually pre-planned. It's usually pre-planned. Another one, it is audience-centered. It is audience-centered. It is audience-centered. So when you look at oral communication, you'll be able to find these characteristics. One is that this is a language we use on a day-to-day basis. It is very difficult to spend the whole 1 hour when you have not talked. Very difficult, unless you are exclusively in a very lonely area. But under normal circumstances, it is something that we use. The other thing is what we call inseparableness. That the sender and the receiver must be present. Like right now that I'm talking, I'm the sender, you are the receiver. Both of us must be present at the time of making the communication. The other thing is that you must, it has a very good opportunity of understanding, and it minimizes cases of what we call miscommunication. Because in case of anything, we have an opportunity to explain in a better way. We have an opportunity to seek for clarification. So as we talk here and now, you can be able to seek a clarification. I can be able also to explain in details. It is also very fast because you can see the immediate reaction. The feedback comes almost immediately. We call it spontaneity. It comes immediately. It is also pre-planned. Under normal circumstances, we do not open our mouths to say things we have not got. Under normal circumstances, we first of all pre-plan, we think of what to say, and then we say it. then this communication is usually audience-centered. As in what we are saying, it is more in the interest of the receiver. Okay, let's look at importances of oral communication. Importances of oral communication. Importances of oral communication. Importances of oral communication. Number one, there is high level of understanding. There is high level of understanding and transparency. There is a very high level of understanding and transparency since it is interpersonal. Since it is interpersonal. Is interpersonal. Number two, the feedback is spontaneous. Spontaneous. The feedback is spontaneous. Hence, decisions can be made very fast. Hence, decisions can be made very fast. Number three, it saves time and money. It saves time and money. It saves time and money. Another one, it is very effective in conflict resolution. It is very effective in conflict resolution. Another one, it is essential for teamwork. You have written like almost 3/4 of a page. So number 5, we are saying it is essential for teamwork and group energy. For teamwork and group energy. Teamwork and group energy. Number 6 is it can be used to transfer private. Can be used to transfer private and confidential. Private and confidential information. Private and confidential information. Number 7 is that the element of rigidity. The element of rigidity is highly reduced. Is highly reduced. Another one is that it is supplemented. Is supplemented by non-verbal cues. By non-verbal cues. It is highly supplemented by non-verbal cues. Another one is that the speaker is able to get personal attention. The speaker is able to get personal attention. The speaker is able to get personal attention of the listener. Personal attention of the listener. So those are some of the importances or the advantages that you can cite when it comes to oral communication. And we are saying, number one, it generates a lot of understanding and transparency because it is something that is interpersonal. Then we are also saying it is spontaneous, meaning you are able to get an immediate feedback. And if a decision was required to be made, you are able to make a decision quickly and take an action also promptly. The other thing is that it saves a lot of time, it saves money, it saves effort. Like now, the way I'm talking, it does not take me a lot of time. It's not very expensive. My talk is not very expensive. It is also very, very important in conflict resolution. Why? It is because there is the exchange of emotions. When you're talking to a person face to face, it is easier to create an understanding compared with when you are talking over the phone or any other media. So when you are doing it orally, it is better. It also enhances teamwork. When people talk, they become friends. Where I come from, huwa tunasema kuongea ama kuongeleshana ni kufanya urafiki. When we are talking, hata kama hatuko tumejuana, by and by we become friends. So we are able to build teamwork, we are able to build group work, which is a game changer in any organization or any place where people are together. If people are working as a team, then you can be able to see that there will be great results. It can also be used to communicate private and very confidential information. Private and confidential information, especially where you do not want later on to be held accountable, that you are the one who released the information. People use what we are calling confidential oral. There is a lot of rigidity reduction. You know, under normal circumstances, when I'm looking at you face to face, the probability that utani ignore kabisa, maybe at the beginning you can ignore me, but if I continue looking at you, finally you must react. And that's how God has created us, either positively or negatively. Huwezi kaa tu hivi kama kikingi na ninakuongelesha for wrong. You must react. Hata kama utafungua mdomo, there must be a body language that shows that now hiyo maneno ninasema umeasikia. The other thing is it is supplemented by non-verbal. As I speak, like now when I have said about kukaa kama kikingi, I have done like this. Now that is a non-verbal what? Cue. So hata kama hujui kikingi ni nini, when I do like this, you get an idea of what I'm talking about. There is the ability to get what we are calling personal attention. You can be able to get personal attention from the listener. Now let's look at these two questions. December 2022, question 1B. December 2022, question 1B. December 2022, question 1B. Sorry, I think that one it should be that one is captured wrongly. It will come later on. It is saying explain 4 benefits of effective listening. So we are going to discuss listening in a while. We're going to discuss listening in a while. So that is not supposed to be there. Let me see the other one. The other one is pilot of December 2021. Pilot of December 2021. Question 2C. No, I captured. The questions are about listening. think I captured them wrongly. So we'll come back there. We'll come back there. Listening is the next thing. It's almost that thing from that one. Okay, so let's continue. Let's now look at limitations of oral communication. Limitations of oral communication. Limitations of oral communication. Number one, it is usually classified as informal. It's usually classified as informal. Number two, there are no records and evidence. There are no records and evidence. There are no records and evidence. Number three, there is lack of accountability. There is lack of accountability. There is lack of accountability. Number four, it cannot be used where there is a long distance. It cannot be used where there is a long distance. It cannot be used where there is a long distance. Another one, it is more prone to errors. It is more prone to errors. It's more prone to errors. Another one, it is easily forgettable. It is easily forgettable. Easily forgettable. Another one is that it is not appropriate when the matter is controversial. It is not appropriate when the matter is controversial. Another one, it is more prone to physical noise. It is more prone to physical noise. It's more prone to physical noise. Another one, there is no serious deliberation. There is no serious deliberations. There is no serious deliberations. Since the listener is required. Since the listener is required to give an immediate feedback. The listener is required to give an immediate feedback. So we are saying these are some of the problems that you find with oral communication. One, it is classified as informal. Although when we began, we said it can be formal or informal. In most of the cases, words of mouth are taken to be informal. It is only when it is done in writing that it becomes binding. It's only when it becomes, or when it is written, that it becomes binding. So most people will take it as informed. The other thing is that it does not give us records or evidence. What I have said, there is no record. We are not being recorded. And even if someone was recording you, you can go and argue that they have modified your voice. They have just captured. And consequently, we don't have what? Evidence. And as a result, we cannot be able to hold anyone what? Accountable. We have seen politicians make utterances. Na wakati anapelekwa kotini anasema mimi sikusema hivyo, nilisema hivi. There is a very famous guy who said ukiona hawa weka taya. Weka taya. When he was taking that statement, when he said it, it was meant ukiwaona tuachome na taya. But when he was taken to court, alisema mimi nilisema weka taya chini. Taya ni ile taya ya kukimbia. Kimbie, ukiona hawa askari mu kimbie. What do you do to him? So someone says this thing, when you want to hold them accountable, they change the story. And cannot be used where there is what? Long distance. Like now, when I'm here, I cannot effectively communicate to someone who is in the next floor. I mean, at the next wing there, orally. And even if I can shout nawasikie, I cannot maintain, like now the way I'm talking for these 2 hours. I cannot talk to people who are in the other wing for 2 hours. Maybe 1 minute or 5 minutes I can shout, but within 10 minutes, I am not able to continue to shout. It is also prone to a lot of errors. Just like we are saying, it is affected by a lot of physical noise. There are days, remember, we are having the lesson here. You come this case of makelele zinakujanga hapa. There are times inakuja hapa, even you are wondering whether the students are hearing what you are saying. It is easily forgettable when someone has said something. You easily forget. That's why we require to make notes. That's why you are busy writing. Otherwise, if you can be able to remember all what I'm saying, you don't need to write in your books. Yeah, because all what I'm saying is what you have written. It is not good when the matter is controversial. Ukiwa na hii hali ya taswishi, hali ya kubishana, people are not agreeing, it is also not very good. In as much as we had said earlier on that it is good for conflict resolution, it is also true. Maneno ikianza kubadilishana mingi, temperatures can go up. That's why at times you find it becomes necessary, or you find it necessary to keep quiet. Mambo inafika mahali unasema let me be quiet, because if I continue talking, things will go south. The other thing is it denies us an opportunity to do a serious deliberation. This is because as the receiver, you are expected to respond immediately. So remember, one of the characters tumesema ya oral communication is that it is pre-planned. So whoever is telling you something, yeye alikuwa ashaifikiria, ameitafakari. But for you, you are being bombarded with an issue and we expect you to respond immediately. So you are not given enough time to really think through the process, to really consider the advantages and disadvantages, so that by the time you open your mouth to say what you say, you have really considered it. So you are just kind of ambushed and you are required to give us the feedback. Now, as a result, you find that there will be a lot of errors, there will be a lot of people denying what they said, because ni kitu tu ulisema at the spur of the moment, and you never meant it. Good. Types of oral communication. Types of oral communication. Types of oral communication. Types of oral communication. One is staff and business meetings. Staff and business meetings. Number two, personal discussions. Personal discussions. Number three, presentations. Presentations. Number four is telephone calls. telephone calls. Another one is informal conversations. Informal conversations. Another one is speeches, lectures, and conferences. Speeches, lectures, and conferences. Another one is teleconferences, 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 and video conferences, teleconferences and video conferences. Another one is interviews, interviews. Yeah, those are the most common types of oral communications. I think those ones are obvious. I don't need to explain. Good. Let's now discuss listening, the one that we had mentioned the questions about. So, listening. 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 And write that this is the ability to accurately receive. This is the ability to accurately receive, and interpret messages, in the communication process. Receive and interpret messages in the communication process. First stop. It is also the ability. It is also the ability to understand and respond. Understand and respond effectively. Understand and respond effectively to an oral communication. To an oral communication. Stop. Another sentence is that listening is an active activity. Listening is an active activity characterized by body language, and attentive pose. Attentive pose. Body language and attentive pose. First, listening is different from hearing. Listening is different from hearing. As explained below. As explained below. So we can do it like in a tabular format, like a table. Just the differences. One, when we talk about hearing, it is just receiving or just receiving the sounds. Just receiving the sounds. But on the other side, 6 to understand the sound. Seeks to understand the sound. Seeks to understand the sound. Number two is that it is a passive activity. It's a passive activity. Passive activity. Another, but on the other side, it is an active activity. Active activity. And another one from hearing, an effortless activity. Effortless activity. But this side requires continuous effort. Requires continuous effort. So that is how we can define listening. And we are saying listening, it is the ability to accurately receive and understand or interpret a message. You receive and interpret. Like right now, as we go on with this class, you are listening and you are accurately receiving the message and you are also interpreting. That's the reason why you are able to write what you're writing on your book. Because you have heard, you have listened, you have gotten the information well, and you are able to interpret. And then we are also saying it is the ability to understand and to respond appropriately. If you do not respond appropriately, it's a show that you have not understood or you did not even listen. You are hearing, but you are not listening. If I was saying everyone to stand up and you continue remaining seated, is a show that you have not understood or you are not listening. That's why your response is not the expected one, is not appropriate. Now, quite often, people tend to say that hearing and listening are the same thing. And you know, and maybe you have ever experienced this. You are talking to a person and they don't appear to pay attention. And no, I'm listening. I'm hearing you. Continue. But from the root, you can see this person is not concentrating on what you are saying. So the person is hearing, but they are not listening to you. Now, listening or hearing is just receiving the sound. Anasikia kuna sauti. You see, like now when I'm teaching, you can hear there is another teacher talking from the other class. But you are not following to know what he's saying. But you can hear the sound somehow. But if you are listening, like now what you are doing to me, you are getting the sound and you're also seeking to add. Now that is called listening. So there is the receiving and there is the understanding. But hearing is something that is passive. It is not very involving. That's why you can do something else even when the sound is coming. Like what I see, maybe someone is reading something else, or you are talking to someone else, or you are doing another activity, and someone is still talking. So that one is hearing. But if you are listening, you will keep, actually even the eye contact, we'll be discussing about that. You will be so keen. And that's why we are saying listening requires continuous what? Effort. But hearing, you don't have to put what? Effort. In any case, you're not bothered. Even if the information passes you, you are not interested in understanding it. Good. Let's now mention something called effective listening skills. Or you have a question? Okay. Effective listening skills. effective listening skills. Effective listening skills. How can you ensure that you are listening well? One, discover your interests field. Discover your interest fields. Discover your interest fields. Number two, grasp and try to understand. Grasp and try to understand the content. Grasp and try to understand the content. Number three, remain calm. Remain calm. Control your temper. Control your temper. And avoid anger. Avoid anger. Until the communication is over. Until the communication is over. Number four, be open to accept new ideas and information. Open to accept new ideas and information. Jot down and take note of important points. Jot down and take note of important points. Number six, rephrase and summarize. Rephrase and summarize the speaker's message. Rephrase and summarize the speaker's message. Another one, keep on asking relevant questions. Keep on asking relevant questions. Keep on asking relevant questions. Another one is avoid distractions. Avoid distractions. Another one is try to step into the shoes. Try to step into the shoes of the speaker. Try to step into the shoes of the speaker and view things from his viewpoint. And view things from his viewpoint. From his viewpoint. So we are saying when it comes to listening, number one, identify your interest. What are you listening? I normally find myself when I'm listening to music, I go for the music that I like. Especially when I'm tired and I am feeling like I am not willing to concentrate. I ask myself, what is my favorite music? Now here in Nikiweka, I will be able to concentrate. What are my favorite news? who is my favorite speaker. Even when I'm watching news, kuna mtu akiletwa hapo, actually in my house, even my children know, fulani akiapia kwa news, kila mtu lazima anyamaze kwa hiyo nyumba. Because I am keen to listen to that person. Wengine wakiletwa, you can continue making noise. I'm not very keen. So you must choose your interest. And this interest can be voluntary or involuntary. Voluntary is where it is you that wants. But involuntary is where you must listen, whether you like it or not, because you have found yourself there. You see, like the way you have come to school, we are teaching you FA, we are teaching you law, we are teaching you communication skills. Now, you may not be very interested in one of the subjects. It may not be exciting. But now that you have registered for the exam, you have no choice than to listen so that you pass the exam. So you must either wait voluntarily or involuntarily. Then try to grasp the message. Try to look at the content matter and try to understand it. The other thing is be calm. Don't lose your temper. Don't be angry. There are some people, I don't know whether you have ever seen them. You try to talk. As soon as you open your mouth, they don't want to hear. They are so angry. Now, if you are so angry, if you cannot take time to listen to the other person, then you can never understand them. And as well, they will never understand you. Actually, we normally say, seek to understand first before you are understood. So if you want me to understand you, first of all, make effort to understand me. Once you understand me, it will become very easy for me to understand you. Because you will know how to communicate to me. Because already you have understood me. And that's what we are saying. You step into the shoes of the speaker. Maybe someone is crying and you don't want to listen to them. Or someone is very happy. You are wondering, what are they saying? Wewe jiweke kwa viatu zake ujiulize, if I were the one in that position, would I react differently? So in that case, then you will be able to understand what they're saying. Avoid distractions. In as much as you want to be attentive, there can be distractions. The other day I was telling you when I'm in the office and maybe the WhatsApp messages are coming and they are bringing some noise. I just switch them off. I just put data off so that they don't keep on distracting. I've also noted that nowadays when I go to church with my phone, and you know nowadays simu ziko kwa Biblia ziko kwa simu, ndio? So we no longer, or we are now moving from the days of carrying the hard copy of the Bible. Sasa unaenda na simu yo mnafuatilia. So when I'm reading hivyo, naona ka message ka WhatsApp kameingia. Si kwanza unakimbizana na unafuata nani anatumana nini, unaona ka message ka Facebook kameingia, unasikia kuna maandamano, unasikia sijui ni nini. Sasa kwanza kuna a lot of what? Disruption. Ama mtu anakupigia simu tu ikiwa umeshika hiyo. So you avoid distractions as much as possible. You'll be able to listen. I told you there are days there are times I lock my office. If I want to listen to something, in a stack disruptions, I physically lock the door. When I physically lock, I have avoided what? Distractions. So anyone who can come, they will not be able to distract me. Then as the talk continues, ensure you are asking relevant what? Questions. Don't ask irrelevant questions. And don't ask questions we'll be talking about that. They are questions that people ask in the name of making their point. The name of making their point. You have, for example, an issue with me. And I'm discussing oral communication. And because you want to embarrass me, you research or you come up with a very difficult term and you ask me, how do we use this one in oral communication? And you are sure that one will get me what? Off guard. Now, when you ask that and I'm caught off guard and I'm there now stranded, then you get satisfied. because you have ambushed me. Now that is wrong. You cannot listen. Or when you're looking for mistakes, there are students we have taught in class, especially those who are repeating. So they come, even those who are not repeating, they come with another book. So when I'm reading these notes, na yeye akona kitabu kingine anasoma hiyo point, mwalimu wetu alitupea 9 points, kwa amepeana ngapi? Huyu ameanza na gani? So instead of listening to what I'm giving you now, you are very busy comparing zenye uko nazo kando with what I am giving. Now that creates distractions and you cannot understand well. It is also important to rephrase. You put, today I was in a discussion group, we were discussing something. And it was so easy to understand something that we have not been understanding in class, because someone is able to put it in our own words, in our own language. You rephrase it, you express it in your own format, you're able to understand it. That's why academic discussion groups are very, very important. It's only that you people are busy, you may not afford all that time, but if possible, they are very important. Mnakaa pamoja, mnaanza kujadiliana about what has been happening in class. The way you will explain it is not the way mwalimu explains it. Yeah. The other thing is you keep on jotting down. Like now, the way you people are doing, you are making some notes. Now, those notes, they will help you to listen and even to understand later on. Then be open to receive new ideas. There are people, I have a friend of mine, anytime you give him a new idea, he's very quick to give you evidence of how that is useless. Hiyo unasema ingekuwa ukweli hii ingekuwa namna hii ingekuwa namna hii. So the person does not take time to listen to the logical conclusion of the story. So you should be open. Let someone speak. Wanaongea ujinga, let them ongea their ujinga. After they are through, then now you can know that it's business. Because points, the boga points, or the strong points are not only in the introductory part of the speech. It could also be at the conclusion. Sindio? Ni kama tu hii mtihani. Hii mtihani, it is not a month that what I have already taught you this month, the first month, you itakuja kwa mtihani. Chances could be, even nitawafunza the last 2 days, itakuwa kwa mtihani. So kama mtu alikuja kwa klasi yangu, akakaa 5 weeks, akasema hii jamaa kuna kitu. Then the last 2 days, what I teach comes to them. So the issue is, listen to the whole. You never know where the main points are. They could be at the beginning, at the middle, at the end, or everywhere. Kila part kona the main points. Good. Levels of listening. Oh, it's time for prayers, eh? Good. I can give you 10 minutes. When you are back, we'll discuss levels of listening. So levels of listening. One is ignoring listening. Ignoring listening. We make a point. This is the most basic. This is the most basic. Full stop. Zero effort is spent to listen. Zero effort is spent to listen. Zero effort is spent to listen. So that's what we call ignoring listening. Najifanya you are listening, but you are not listening. So there is very little what? Effort. Zero effort. Making no effort to listen. Number two is called pretending reasoning. Pretending reasoning. Pretending reasoning. And we write that this involves at least giving an appearance. This involves at least giving an appearance of reasoning. At least giving an appearance of reasoning. It works well until the speaker asks a question. It works well until the speaker asks a question. So that's where you are pretending that you are listening to what is being said. Eh? You create an impression kama ninasikia kufuata. But akili yako iko mbali sana. And it goes on well until unaulizwa, what have I said? What is your opinion? Na sasa unastuka ati nini? Or the way you respond inaonyesha you are not listening. So that's called pretense or pretending listening. The third level of listening is called selective listening. Selective listening. Selective listening. And write that this involves making some basic efforts. This involves making some basic efforts to listen to only some parts of the message. Basic effort to listen to some parts of the message. Some parts of the message. It aims to respond with some kind of, it aims to respond with some kind of winning comeback. Winning comeback. Winning comeback. First up. It results in increased misunderstanding. It results in increased misunderstanding and miscommunication. Increased misunderstanding and miscommunication. Yeah, so that is what I had said earlier on. Eh? You are just listening to a person selectively and more so looking for where they make a mistake. And you are waiting to make a comeback that creates a winning situation. What I had said, you are listening to me, waiting for me to make a mistake, then you raise sound. Or you wait for me, I pronounce a particular word wrongly, and you tell me, repeat. So, for example, when I'm teaching in section 5, there is something we call a running curve. So for me, this one, when I pronounce it, it sounds like this one. So if someone has an issue with me, atangoja niseme running. Excuse me, mwalimu. Which running are you talking about? Can you repeat? And he knows that nikirudia even 1,000 times, I will still pronounce this one, although I'm talking of things. But the objective is to create a winning perspective, is to show me I'm not good in that. Me, I'm the one who is good. The audience or the listener, anataka kujionyesha yeye anajua kuliko. That's what we call selective listening. And unfortunately, it results into misunderstanding because you don't get the whole message. Wewe kazi yako tu ni kutegea mahali mtu atamake makosa usimame. And also it happens when the listener thinks they are better. Listener thinks they are better. So I'm teaching here and someone thinks that they know better, the one who should be speaking. So they wait until they get something technical. So number 4 inaitwa attentive listening. Attentive listening. Attentive listening. This pays attention and internalizes the message. This pays attention and internalizes the message. Internalizes the message. It involves eye contact. It involves eye contact. Thinking to understand. Thinking to understand. Reflecting. Reflecting. Rephrasing. Rephrasing. And other tools to maintain engagement. And other tools to maintain engagement. Other tools to maintain engagement. So we are saying here you are very attentive. You are making effort to internalize the message, to understand. You ensure there is eye contact. Like now, the way to Nangaliana, that is attentive what? Listening. You try to reflect, what is this person saying? You try to engage your mind to think, to interpret. And this one ensures that you remain engaged. You are not lost in what is happening. The last one, which is the highest level, is called empathetic. Empathetic. Empathetic listening. And we write that this is the highest level of listening. This is the highest level of listening. Highest level of listening. And involves the greatest amount of. And involves the greatest amount of mental and emotional energy. The greatest amount of mental and emotional energy. First of all, it requires high focus. It requires high focus and seeks to get the speaker's frame of reference. And seek to get the speaker's frame of reference. So that is what we had said. Empathy is when you seek to get into the shoes of this person. And you get to understand, why are they speaking this way? Why are they coming from this direction? Where are they coming? So there is a lot of high focus. There is a lot of energy that you devote emotionally and also mentally. And we are saying is the greatest level of listening. And what we have called frame of reference, when you are speaking, we always speak from a reference. We don't speak from nothing. You speak from something you have experienced. Someone said that you can never desire to buy a car if you have never seen it. You must have seen a car for you now to start thinking, I can buy a car. There is something known as you know it? What is it? It's more sophisticated. It's like a private jet. Umewahi physical? Umeona tu kwa mitandao? Yes. Wewe umeona? Now, if you have never seen something like this, can you think about it? So the frame of reference, it is what informs our thinking. If someone is very broke, chances are they talk of how money is scarce. If someone is coming from a very rich background, they have a lot of money, they will talk of how money is really what? So you need to understand where is this person framing their argument from. You go to a meeting and guys are pledging, and one guy stands and says, "Unataka budget ya 1 million. So we are 10 guys, kila mtu 100,000. You are there, maybe you have a pesa. See, 3,000 I cannot. Ama kweli wewe waanza kuongea useme if we are looking for 1 million. If one of us, if every one of us give 1,000, then we need 1,000 members. So this guy is wondering. Now, the one who is talking of 1,000 is talking from a frame of scarcity. The one who is saying, actually, even two guys, where 500,000, is talking from a frame of abundance. And that's why, like, when people talk, even when they are talking to you today and they are talking about you, don't be quick to judge. Take time and get to know where is this person coming from. How are they looking at life? I don't know whether you have noted the things we post in our WhatsApp statuses. Chances are almost 80% they tell what is going on in our hearts and our minds. Do you do that? If you are very happy, chances are tule to be tutaweka kwa WhatsApp ni tuwa furaha. If inside your heart you have quarreled with someone, and I don't know how those things happen, you have quarreled with someone in the office, as you look for something to put, unapata mtu messages to cutting in quote, mtu in quote, unakaweka tu. Yeah. So that is what we are calling the frame of reference. Now, when you know where someone is coming from, it becomes easy to August 2022. Kwa kwanza turudi kwa ile swali tulikuwa tumesema ilikuwa ya December. The benefits, I think bado hatujaongea about that. August 2022, question 2B. August 2022, question 2B. Nasema discuss 4 types of listening. So we have discussed this. And there are many ways of classifying listening. I think when we began this subject, there's somewhere I gave you the elements of communication and I gave you listening as one of them. And I gave you 4 types of listening. So they are also part of this. So you can choose any. December 2021, the pilot paper. Pilot paper of December 2021. Question 1B. Question 1B. Inasema distinguish between active and empathic listening. Active is the one we have called attentive. Active is the one we have called attentive. So you can be able to tell the difference. Okay, let's now look at listening process. Listening process. Listening process. And write that other Joseph De Vito, or that Joseph De Vito has divided the reasoning process. Into 5 stages as follows. The reasoning process into 5 stages as follows. 1. Receiving. This is intentional focus on the message. This is intentional focus on the message. Intentional focus on the message. First of all, it requires the receiver to filter out. It requires the receiver to filter out other sources and stimuli. Other sources and stimuli. Other sources and stimuli. The primary tool used is the ear. The primary tool used is the ear. So that is receiving. It is intentional, and you focus on whoever is speaking, and you see go out any other noise. Like now, what I had said earlier on, when I'm speaking here, there's some other noise coming from another room. You are able to see go out. You are able to filter out. And what you are using at this point is the ear. Step number 2 inaitwa understanding. Understanding. And write that this is an attempt to run. This is an attempt to run. So my word is back. This is an attempt to run the meaning of the message. Run the meaning of the message. First of all, it is not always easy. It is not always easy. First of all, the tool used is brain. The tool used is brain. So that is trying to get meaning. We are saying here we use the brain, and it's not easy. Yeah. So some people will receive, but you will not understand. Number 3 is called remembering. Remembering. And write that this is recorrection and repeating. This is recorrection and repeating the words of the speaker. Nimenyamaza because that is what exactly you are doing. I've said the words, nikanyamaza. Maybe by the time nimenyamaza, ulikuwa umefika repeating. But ulikuwa umesikia the words of the speaker. So you have continued writing. You have continued writing because now you are able to remember what the speaker has said. Yes. And you have understood it. Yeah. So that is stage number 3. Stage number 4 is evaluating. Evaluating. This is thinking critically. This is thinking critically about the message, and deciding what to do with the message. Thinking critically about the message and deciding what to do with the message. And deciding what to do with the message. Yeah. So that is evaluation. You are thinking, what is this? What do I need to be done? And the last stage is called responding. Responding. This is the one that will tell us whether you are listening. Responding. And we write that this is providing the feedback to the speaker. This is providing the feedback to the speaker. It can be of two types. It can be of two types. One, formative feedback. Formative feedback, which is given as the speaker continues to speak. Formative feedback, which is given as the speaker continues to speak. And the second one is summative feedback. Summative feedback. Summative feedback, which is given when the speaker has concluded the message. Which is given when the speaker has concluded the message. So that is what you're calling the responding. So we can look at this question, April 2022, question 5C. April 2022, question 5C. We have April 2022, question 5C. Yeah? 5C, inasema describe the 5 steps of the listening process. The 5 steps of the listening process. So tumesema there is receiving, there is understanding, there is remembering, there is evaluating, and responding. And you can respond when the speaker is still talking. That does not mean you interrupt, but you can say, excuse me, then the speaker will give you a time, you will say what you want, then he responds, then he continues. But if you wait until I'm through, and I say now I'm through with my presentation, any question or any comment, that's now called what? Summative. The other question is November 2020, question 6C. November 2020, question 6C. November 2020, question 6C. is on page 11. Nasema, discuss 5 steps that could lead to effective listening. So those steps. Na nimesema this one is the ultimate measure of whether you are listening or not listening. When you respond appropriately, it tells us whether all these were successful. November 2018, question 7C. November 2018, question 7C. November 2018, question 7C is on page 14. Examine 5 techniques of effective listening. Those techniques are the ones we call the skills, effective listening skills. I think I gave you 10, where we said you discover your interest, you try to grasp, remain calm, you be open, you jot down, you analyze, you rephrase, you keep on asking questions, you avoid distractions, and you become empathetic. Yeah. Even the issue of keeping the eye contact, ensuring that you remain present, no distractions. The other question is November 2017, question 6A. November 2016, question 2017, question 6A. November 2017, question 6. Analyze 5 guidelines to effective listening. So when they talk of those guidelines, it is just the other way of being asked the skills. The skills, the guidelines. Be attentive, avoid distractions, develop interest, be open to receive new ideas. Yeah. The last thing that we need to look at before you go home are just very few points called barriers to effective listening. Barriers to effective listening. Barriers. Maybe you can give me some barriers. What are barriers? What are some of the barriers that? Noise. Noise. Good. Yeah, you can put that. Noise. Kama kuna makelele, you don't be able to hear. Noise. Joseph, any? Distance. Good. Where is this person who is speaking to you? Fatima? What are some of the barriers to effective listening? You have another? Language. Yeah, the language being used can make you not to listen inwardly. Yeah, issues of age difference. Age difference. So you can capture also the ones I have. Another one is focusing on personal agenda. Focusing on personal agenda. This is where wewe unataka tu mambo yako yaongelewe. You are waiting until they discuss your thing. It's part of what we call selective what? Listening. Yeah. Wewe tu unataka uongelelewe or they speak your interest. That's all. Number 6 is information overload. Information overload. Ukipewa information mingi, like now if I continue teaching you up to 12 midnight, maybe by saa 2:30 saa 3 kichwa itakuwa isha block. So you are just hearing, but you are not listening. You can recognize the noise, the sound, but you are not understanding it. Information overload. Another one is criticizing the speaker. Criticizing the speaker. is what I had said earlier on. You want to make a winning comeback. Unaniangalia hivyo unasema sasa huyu amevaa aje, anaongea aje, alitolewa wapi? All those things, when they start coming to your mind, you cannot effectively listen to that person. The other one is emotional noise. Emotional noise. Emotional noise. Now, this is where you already have issues inside you. Kuna mambo inakusumbua. Maybe ukikuja kwa hii class, kuna mahali umetoka, kuna mtu mmekosana kabisa, ama mtu amekukosea. So emotionally you are disturbed. So if emotionally you are disturbed, you cannot concentrate. Yeah, cannot concentrate. Yeah. Another one is physical difficulties. Physical difficulties. Maybe you have a problem with your ears. Can't listen. Yes. Or maybe you are physically tired. So if you are physically tired, then again you realize that we are not able to understand each other. So December 2021, question 7. There was a question on that. December 2021, question 7. December 2021, question 7. A inasema summarize 5 limitations of face-to-face communication. Limitations. Face-to-face communication. Yeah, the limitations, those are the barriers. Good listeners actively try to overcome barriers to successful listening. In relation to the above statement, examine 5 differences between effective listeners and ineffective listeners. Can you be able to give the difference? This one is attentive, the other one is not attentive. This one is removing all the barriers, in a noise and what? This one is not removing, it's not making effort. This one is noting down some points. This one is not making any point. This one is making some effort. This one is not making any effort. So you can be able to argue from the skills of listening. Yeah. The skills of listening will be exercised by someone who is an effective listener. But someone who is ineffective will not practice. To you can be able to navigate that way. Good. So we then call it a day at that juncture. I think what I had slotted for today is over. So you're going to Tajadiliana in our next lesson. We shall discuss something called interviews. Interviews. Unaona ni mrefu. Sawa.